Zelensky is a WEF puppet, and they wanted Putin to invade Ukraine. They needed a scapegoat for crashing the global economy. We're setting us up for yet another crash of the global economy, just like they did in March of 2020 with COVID 9/11. And that's where we are. And we're on the verge of that. And you're hearing it this morning, as I was trying to do, I couldn't even keep up with the headlines this morning. But we have the European Union now talking about floating multi-trillion-dollar euro bonds. We're talking about the Germans rearming, spending hundreds of billions of dollars to rearm Europe. Now, Europe is 10 years away from rearming in such a way that they could even think about fighting Russia in a land war unless we fight it for them, which we're not going to do. No matter how much Joe Biden tries to, get us to, save Ukraine, save Zelensky. Like, please, like, are you kidding me? That's not happening here. And it's certainly not. And we're not going to, and we don't want to suffer for Ukraine's sovereignty, whatever that means, which they've never been sovereign. Like this, Ukraine has never been sovereign. It's barely ever been a country. Even when it was a part of the USSR, it was barely even its own republic. It was one of these, hodgepodges created in order to have ethnic strife to keep it from ever assimilating any power within the USSR. I mean, realize this. And once you understand that, Ukraine is like Syria, it's like a hodgepodge of 5 different ethnicities that, with borders that don't make any sense, because half of Ukraine should be in Russia, minimum. And most of the area that the Russians have invaded in, and they plan on taking, or at least turning into Novorossiya, is those areas of Russia, going all the way from Odessa along the northern coast of the Black Sea, all the way up to Kharkov, and then use the Dnieper River as the border. It's so very obvious that Zelensky was told, don't do anything because we want a war. Okay, because once we have our war, then we can try and gin it up into the war that we think. And this is coming from these crazy freaking neocons. And then you ask yourself the question, why are they doing this? Why are they risking nuclear war with the Russians? Because they're crazy. Seriously, Victoria Nuland is crazy. And she needs to be removed from office. So, same with Anthony Blinken. Blinken is the most gloriously, purposefully incompetent Secretary of State in the history of man. In a year and a half, this guy has gone out of his way to make every potential diplomatic blunder he possibly could have. And you ask yourself the question, is he just incompetent? No, no one is this consistently incompetent and keeps his job. It has to be intentional. It has to be intentional. He intentionally walked into Anchorage a year and a half ago, 4 days on the job, and opened by insulting the Chinese and ensuring the talks just broke down from there. Since then, he's made a mess of JCPOA negotiations, of our relationship with India, Russia, almost all of Europe. He's done this on purpose. Like he's been a one-man freaking wrecking crew on U.S. foreign relations in order to do what? To isolate us from the rest of the world. Not only does Davos want Russia isolated so that they can try and take them over through financial repression and through financial destruction, which is not going to work because the Russians are it's just not going to work because they have a real economy that produces real things, and they can back it with real money, i.e. gold and Bitcoin and silver. Whereas on the other side, they're trying to destroy the legitimacy of the United States. I've been saying this for a year. It's very clear what these guys are doing. They are selling out the United States. They're destroying it. They've been trying to destroy and our rule of law, our contract law, our system of government, our capital handling capability, our corporate law, all of it, in order to get global capital, to see the United States as a failing empire that is about to collapse so that money can flow out of the United States and back into Europe. And the exact opposite is happening, because Europe is the thing that is actually collapsing as the political opposition to this has hardened, which is why you had to watch Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema kill Build Back Better, gut the infrastructure bill, all of that stuff. All of that fight last year was your clue that they were losing. Okay. And this is what Blinken's been doing. And now they are in desperate scramble mode to try and crash the global economy by now erecting a new Berlin Wall or a new, Iron Curtain, which again is what I've been saying for months now, that's what they've been trying to do. But they're going to go scorched earth in the process, and they're going to try and kill as many people as possible in the process, because that's who they are. Because they think that if they kill everybody else, they can actually weaken the Russians. Are you kidding me? They literally are at that point, just, I think, blind with rage. Okay. I think people like Victoria Nuland are blind with rage. She went to Russia. She had the sanctions against her lifted by Moscow. She goes to Moscow and literally tells them, if you do not submit, we're going to destroy you. We're going to put nuclear missiles on your, and there's nothing you can do about it. We're going to start a war, and there's nothing you can do about it. They threw her out.